Thank you. The fourth frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Very much so, Hazel, and it was interesting listening to the boys in the studio there talking about the long pot success rate, and Ronnie, amazingly enough, has only potted 1 in 6, and amazingly enough they've always been into this top right hand corner pocket as well. Now usually if you miss that many long shots you can leave your opponent chance after chance.
Once again from the break-off shot, the red coming back up the table. Twice has happened Shaun Murphy, and once has happened Ronnie. But he does look to be under pressure considerably, Shaun Murphy, in this opening session. Three sessions to be played, 2 8s and a 9. But as Steve was saying, you never settle until you get your first frame on the scoreboard. And Shaun's going to have to use all his experience, and as John Parrott said, even his B game. Let's do something to get a frame. And this one would send him to the mid-session interval, and not too bad a frame of mind.
Very easy safety shot, the thin one, but as nothing pots on the left hand side, the red down the cushion is not a bad choice to screw back for the blue, because he won't be leaving anything down the left hand side. He's having a look at the potting angle, so he'll be playing for the blue or pink off this. Goodness me, hit that absolutely straight.
Well, we've seen him go in off, trying a longer pot earlier on, one that was near the pocket, so that silky smooth cue action has just deserted him for the time being. But this game of snooker, if you're a fraction out, it makes such a vast difference, and at the moment Shaun Murphy is just a fraction out.
Well, normally he'd be tempted at the one on the extreme right hand side and potting it and running back up for blue or bought colour, but maybe he's just thinking of playing a containing safety shot at the moment. That's the one he can play. He won't go in off if he pots it. I'm very surprised he's not taking it on. Perhaps he feels that until he gets his long game in shape, he's not going to play any more long pots. Nothing wrong with his safety though. How is it, Dennis, you can hit the ball exactly where you want when you're playing safe, yet when you're playing a long pot you hit it in the wrong place?
I think simply because there's probably a little bit more pressure on a pot than there is on a safety shot. That's all I can think of. Well, I think we were all expecting fireworks from both players, but the highest break from Ronnie's 58, the highest from Shaun just 36. But there's been quite a bit of tactical play, and the balls have gone awkward, as they seem to be doing here. The black tied up. Look at those reds, the way that's another little pattern you don't see very often, the way they're sitting.
And that average shot time for Murphy, Shaun usually plays at 21, 22 seconds per shot. He's up at 28 at the moment because he's not had an awful lot of table time. I think both players obviously are going to have to sort the long game out. We know that they're going to score when they get in eventually, but the long potting is very poor at the moment.
Now this may be a chance. Ronnie thought that was a shot to nothing, but the red that he attempted, which was a very difficult one, he wasn't too far away. Well, I thought it had come back across the table, but the pink's preventing Sean from potting that one. Having a look to see if there's any plants available, but not sure about that. There's two reds that's just to the left of the cue ball, but as you can clearly see, not in line for the pocket.
Quietly, please. One.
Amazing the number of times this shot comes off. He didn't try it, but sometimes you do try, but that was a fluke. He held his hand up. And with the blue being off its, or the green off its spot, it's given Ronnie a chance. So that could be a costly fluke for Sean Murphy. Let's have a look at it. He's just playing the safety shot. And then all of a sudden, the red disappears.
Five. $12. 13.
Needed to go through the red a little further, so he's going to be going away from his intended red. Still able to hold it just past the blue spot, so it's okay. Can reach whichever red he
19.
decides to play.
$20.
Well, that didn't go in to the middle of the pocket. That's why he's come up a bit short on the blue. Just have a look at this one. In off the jaw there.
Just come back slightly further than he wanted there.
25.
He'd like to just stun this in for the black, but he should be okay. Yeah, you see that? It was the previous shot where he overscrewed the blue that 3 or 4 inches further than he wanted to.
Well, he's looking at his tip quite a bit here after he played the shot. I don't know why he would be looking at the tip. Just looking there to, well, it seems okay, but listen, one year here at the World Championship, Ronnie went through about a record 16 tips or something like that. Do you remember, Willie?
It's amazing how everybody thinks that the tips are the same, but I mean, you can have a box of tips, whatever make you decide you want to use, and every one could throw different. And we're talking about when you play with a little bit of side, one could push into the ball a lot quicker than the other. But Ronnie's tip looks pretty good there.
No, that last shot was nothing to do with the tip. It was just poor cueing on Ronnie's part on that occasion. As Willie said, he wanted to be straight, but he finished up just hitting that straight because he was gone off 2 cushions for the black. Can he get through to this?
Foul.
Well, he got down pretty quick. Well, you know, he's been
Sean
very,
Murphy full.
he's been very, very lucky by the way the balls have finished. How has he got away with that one?
It's touching ball.
In fact, it's a touching ball, but he seemed to get down quite quickly there. I thought it was tight.
Ball.
Yes, you don't need a run like that, do you, when you're 3-0 behind? You think when a player plays a misjudged shot like that and cannons into the pack, you'd expect to be on one. But he knows Ronnie's not playing good. I know 3-0 behind, he's going to be very, very worried, but the way Ronnie's playing at the minute, I wouldn't be too worried.
I'm not sure if he can get across, if he can miss the reds to get somewhere in behind the yellow. He'd love to do that, because the green would cover that other red that Ronnie tried to pot previously, but just can he see enough past the red to try and get in behind the yellow? It's a bit tight, but might be able to. Nearly. In behind the yellow, Ronnie would have been in all sorts of trouble.
Just 3 or 4 inches too hard there, wasn't it? Otherwise he would have got there. Same problem for Ronnie here. He has to make sure he doesn't, he plays back into baulk, leave that red on. Just playing a containing safety shot here though. He's leaving the white at this end of the table.
While they're having this little bout of safety play, I was listening to Steve and Ken in the studio yesterday, and they were talking about flukes. And we played a tournament. I actually played it that Eddie Charlton organised, and if you had a fluke, you had to nominate your pocket. If you got a fluke, the red had to come back on the table again. So you had to nominate your shot, and the first one to get a fluke was Eddie Charlton. It was a silly idea, but we did play the whole tournament, nominating every single shot.
And who won the tournament? Did we find out who's the unluckiest player or the luckiest player?
You couldn't ask me one on sport, Willie, could you?
Well, the memory's gone then. A little bit shorter pace there. You see the cue ball finishing before the baulk line. Now we know that Ronnie has only potted 1 in 6 in this right hand corner. Can he see one this time? So this is 1 in 6. Will it be 2 in 7? It's not. It's 1 in 7.
Now this is how he was playing. Was it last season or the season before? He couldn't knock a long ball and he was cueing across the long shots, and then when he got in amongst them he never looked like missing. But that's not smooth cueing, and that puts a little seed of doubt. But having said all that, this is quite a thin snick that Sean's faced with. And look at the cannon he's got on the blue. He's now faced with a very difficult brown or blue.
Well, the way this frame has gone, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he doesn't roll in behind the yellow. This brown is, I mean, 3-0 behind, and the way Ronnie's playing, you may just put Ronnie in form if you decide to take the brown on. Because this brown, you'd only pot it probably 7 out of 10, maybe not that many times, so is it worth the risk?
Well, John Parrott was talking about his B game, and this is his B game here, because normally you would take the brown on, but good choice there. Very good choice with the reds open like that.
Yes, Ronnie's long pot success rate now has gone down to 14%. 1 in 7 so far, and all in that right hand top pocket. Amazing. I think it's sometimes you can get out of bed the wrong side, because I mean, what I'm trying to say, why should you miss